William Shakespeare. Archaeology is revealing new clues about the bard's life and death. This is on the conversation by William Mitchell, lecturer in archaeology, Staffordshire University of the UK. William Shakespeare is widely regarded as one of the greatest authors of all time and one of the most important and influential people who has ever lived. His written works, plays, sonnets, and poems have been translated into more than 100 languages, and these are performed around the world. There is also an enduring desire to learn more about the man himself. Countless books and articles have been written about Shakespeare's life. I've been to his house, by the way, in Stratford-on-Avon. It's not far from Warwick University, where my son had gone to university there. Beautiful place. Anyway, countless books written and articles about his life. These have been based primarily on the scholarly analysis of his works and the official record associated with him and his family. Shakespeare's popularity and legacy endures despite uncertainties in his life story and debates surrounding his authorship and identity. The life and times of William Shakespeare and his family have also recently been informed by cutting-edge archaeological methods and interdisciplinary technologies at both New Place, his long-since demolished family home, and his burial place at Holy Trinity Church, Stratford-upon-Avon. The evidence gathered from these investigations by the Centre of Archaeology at Staffordshire University provides new insights into his interests, attitudes, and motivations, and those of his family. It shows how archaeology can provide further tangible evidence. These complement traditional Shakespearean research methods that have been limited to sparse documentary evidence and the study of his works. Archaeology has the ability to provide a direct connection to an individual through the places and objects associated with them. Past excavations of Shakespearean era theatres in London have provided evidence of the places he worked and spent much of his time. Attributing objects to Shakespeare is difficult. We have his written work, of course, his portraits, and memorial bust, but all of his known possessions, like those mentioned in his will, no longer exist. A single gold signet ring, inscribed with his initials W.S., William Shakespeare, is thought by some to be the most significant object owned and used by the poet, despite its questionable provenance. Shakespeare's house, that's where I've been. It's beautiful. Now, Shakespeare's great. It has a thatched roof. A lot of beautiful houses at that era had thatched roofs. They're still building thatched roof houses made out of very stiff straw. Now, and they supposedly have a guarantee for 10 years. They keep the house warm, and they're also rainproof. Now, Shakespeare's house, Shakespeare's greatest and most expensive possession was his house, New Place. Evidence obtained through recent archaeological investigations of his foundations give us quantifiable insights into Shakespeare's thought processes, personal life, and business success. The building itself was lost in the 18th century, but the site and its remains were preserved beneath a garden, erected in the centre of Stratford-upon-Avon more than a century prior to Shakespeare's purchase in 1597. From its inception, it was architecturally striking. One of the largest domestic residences in Stratford, it was the only courtyard-style open-hall house within the town. This type of house typified the merchant and elite classes, and in purchasing and renovating it to his own vision, Shakespeare inherited the traditions of his ancestors while embracing the latest fashions. The building materials used, its primary structure and later redevelopment, can all be used as evidence of the deliberate and carefully considered choices made by him and his family. Shakespeare focused on the outward appearance of the house, installing a long gallery and other fashionable architectural embellishments as was expected of a well-to-do aspiring gentleman of the time. Many other medieval features were retained, and the hall was likely retained as a showpiece of his home, a place to announce his prosperity and his rise in status. It provided a place for him and his immediate and extended family to live, work, and entertain, but it was also a place which held local significance and symbolic associations. Intriguingly, its appearance also resembled the courtyard in theatres of London and elsewhere with which Shakespeare was so familiar, presenting the opportunity to host private performances. In Search of the Bard, extensive evidence of the personal possessions, diet, and the leisure activities of Shakespeare, his family, and the inhabitants of New Place were recovered during the archaeological investigations, revolutionizing what we understand about his day-to-day life. An online exhibition, due to be made available in early May of 2020, represents 3D scanned artifacts recovered at the site of New Place. These objects, some of which may have belonged to Shakespeare, have been chosen to characterize the chronological development and activities undertaken at the site. Open access to the virtual objects will enable the dissemination of these important results and the potential for others to continue the research. Here lies archaeological evidence recovered from non-invasive investigations at Shakespeare's burial place has also been used to provide further evidence of his personal and family belief. Multi-frequency ground-penetrating radar, GPR, was used to investigate the Shakespeare family graves below the chancel of Holy Trinity Church. The number of legends surrounding Shakespeare's burial place, among these were doubts over the presence of a grave, its contents, tales of grave robbing, and suggestion of a large family crypt. The work confirmed that individual shallow graves exist beneath the tombstones and that the various members of Shakespeare's family were not buried in coffins, but in simple shrouds. Analysis concluded that Shakespeare's grave had been disturbed in the past and that it was likely that his skull had been removed, confirming recorded stories. These family graves occupy a significant and extensive location in Holy Trinity Church. Despite this, the simple nature of Shakespeare's grave, with no elite trappings or finery and no large family crypt, coupled with his belief that he should not be disturbed, confirm a simple regional practice based on pious religious observance and an affinity to his hometown. There's still so much we don't know about Shakespeare's life, so it's a safe bet that researchers will continue to investigate what evidence there is. Archaeological technologies can provide quantifiable information that is not available through traditional Shakespearean research, but just like other disciplines, interpretation based on evidence will be key to unlocking the mysterious surrounding life and death of the English language's greatest writer, who we call the Bard. If you'd like to join me on my Patreon account, you will hear content not covered by mainstream media. These riveting stories will be based on my research, and I will state my opinions and give my personal insight on diverse and controversial subjects and world events not covered by mainstream media, and not supported by YouTube guidelines. So whatever I have on my Patreon, most of those will not be on my YouTube channel. Please consider becoming a member today. More of the most significant and important videos will be on my Patreon channel. Your support helps me to continue my research and keeps this YouTube channel alive. And we depend on your support, your generous charity, because we help economically challenged families here in Athens, Greece, in Kapota, and we also help the young generation with university tuition and the community around our church. Thank you.